back on Egmont Soch ki T-Talk Train of Thought with a series of an episode with Mr. Tarundeep Singh Anand, Managing Director of Universal Business School. It was an interesting episodes. What we had so far is an interesting journey from HSBC where he started in sale and basically more or less part of an debate and the extracurricular activities while being a part of an college, and at a young age he has started selling the intangible product which are there. And in the last episode we have seen his aggressive approach while being a global CEO with Thomson Reuter. It was an interesting insight to what we have. Many a times it so happened once you're part of a multinational organization at top of a pyramid, then you don't want to come from out from a comfort zone. But now, sir, welcome back for another episode. We would like to know, like, it's basically after coming back by being part of a larger organization, एक बूंद सोच की एजुकेशन की यूबीएस की कहाँ से शुरू हुई?
So once I had got this idea that I want to set up a business school, I said, firstly, there are two things which go into it. One, I need to know why, what am I doing this for? And I studied the Indian subcontinent and realized that at that point, the incredible job done by Indian School of Business, Hyderabad. They had put together a phenomenal team and a world-class education system. So I said, let me study them more. And when I was studying that model, I realized that the founders actually had thought of setting up ISB in Mumbai in 1996. Mm-hmm. And for 4 years, they were hoping to do it in Mumbai, being the business capital. But they couldn't work with the local government of that time for certain issues, and therefore they moved to Hyderabad, where the Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu rolled out the red carpet, and the rest is history. Mm-hmm. So I said, but the powerful idea of setting up a world-class business school, residential, mm-hmm. in Mumbai or near Mumbai is the idea. Mm-hmm. Which I would like to do. Mm-hmm. And behind them was the who's who. The Ambanis were there, the Godrej's were there, the Tatas were there. And so I was like, these are big guys, right? So I need to figure out how I'm going to do it. So we said we'll get these are obviously industrialists who have, they are the haves. I came from a background where, as I said, I started as a door-to-door salesperson and made my way up to the CEO level. So I need to create a team which is like me. Who started their careers from humble backgrounds and made it to the top. So we got a bunch of 60 CEOs on our board of governors who became like my rock. And these were people like me who had started their career journey with nothing and made it right to the top of the corporate empire. So that was one thing I said we will do. Now, as I said, I was close to my business plan. I now needed entrepreneurial experience, which I got. Mm-hmm. I was managing a team of 14,000 people. And then I said, okay, now I want to move to Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. In Hong Kong, I was the first employee. I hired my entire team in Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. Then I set up offices in Japan, in China, in Singapore, in Southeast Asia, and Sydney. So now I got confidence. Now I can go into a country which I don't know anything, different cultural aspects, market also is different, and I can actually go and set up a business there. So that gave me a lot of confidence, and I moved back to India. That's when we bought the land, and then we started the construction, and while the construction was going on, I realized I'm not an civil engineer. I don't understand construction, being a banker. So Thomson Reuters called me back to say, why don't you come as chairman and managing director? And I was like, sure. Because I had been out of India for 8-9 years and I'd lost the India connect at that point. I had a lot of global connect, but when you're out of a country. So this job got me connected very deeply with India, and I was very fortunate to meet some amazing guys in my role. And they came on my board. So they supported me. So it was fine. And Reuters was amazing because they said, you can do both. Nice. You can be CM, chairman of Reuters, and you can be founding this. It's a not-for-profit social enterprise no conflict of interest. 5 days you work here, 2 days you work there. So I could build this up, and also luckily while building up there's no revenue. So I had my financially secure, right, during that period.
Correct.
And then so that was the journey of creating a institution, and we said, we want to be close to Mumbai, which allows us to get every year 100 top CXOs, CEOs to our campus, because we said that should be the it should be easier for them to come, hour and a half's drive, but far enough so that the students don't get distracted. Now, when I went to my college and my education in Bombay, I remember going on the local trains. It wasn't fun. It was sometimes 1 hour of that it didn't add value. So I said, why should that 1 hour or 2 hours in a day, which you're going through a lot of stress trying to pick the train, get to the local, all of that, if that saved in every child's life, where in my campus they can brush their teeth in 5 minutes and they're in the classroom. So they save that time, they can spend it on sports, they can spend it on sleep, they can spend it on anything they want, entertainment or even studies, if that's what they want to do. So I said, residential campus, business school, with a residential close to Bombay. And then we said, what can we do unique? So we said, we'll become the first business school in India, and we went to AICTE, and we said we actually got, and even AICTE was very shocked, because we were the first to apply for postgraduate diploma in management, PGDM, with foreign collaboration. So far, no school had got a foreign collaboration PGDM in our time. So we managed to become the first school. We went to 40 universities around the world, talked to them, understood their models, liked some things about certain universities, said we like this, we like that, and so that was our learning phase. And then we even pitched our idea to many business schools, and Cardiff Met, which was a 150-year-old university, pedigree. So we said, we'll get them. They understand TNE. TNE is transnational education. So we partnered with them. We learned a lot, because honestly, we were not academicians. We were management professionals, and the idea was to professionalize education. So when parents come and speak to me, and they see that this is not a typical academician sitting there. He's like a very different ilk. So I think that's what we're trying to do. What I've learned in my 20 years in the corporate experience, working around the world at the top management, to bring that into learning. And I always say, you got to be a customer of your service. What does that mean? Be a customer of the service means I've actually recruited from business schools. So I have been on the other side. I know what is required in the other side. So now I have a better chance of delivering it in this, because I've been there, done that.
I think that's the reason we are saying a visionary leadership in global education. Mr. Tarundeep Singh Anand has been a part of an corporate as a management which is concerned, but equally he was part of an SP Jain business school also, where he has seen both these sides, and changing the gear from the corporate to an academia and taking at the international level nevertheless was a great challenge. But if you've got a passion, if you're a great sports lover, it teaches you how to balance your life and the scalability aspects which are concerned. It's a very interesting insight. So what we are getting from Mr. Tarundeep Singh Anand. So now, in fact, having a international presence, what is an learning-centric approach of as far as the UBS which is concerned?
So, why is Apple a fantastic product? It's got great hardware and great software. So on the hardware point, very briefly, we got architects who've built Cornell, Columbia, Stern, Perkins Eastman from the US to come and design our campus, so that we said the hardware should be world class, because you cannot have software being world class and bad hardware, and vice versa. On the software side, we said we'll do three unique things. One, we said, I'm sure many of you might have ridden a cycle, right, in your life. Did you, question to the audience, did you ride your cycle by reading a book before it? My guess is no. So what did you do? You got on the cycle, you figured it out, the balance, must have fallen a few times, and now you can ride. Now if I take the cycle away from you for 10 years and say after 10 years, ride the cycle, you're going to be able to ride it. Why? Because it's gone into your DNA. It's gone into your bloodstream. Correct. Nobody can take that cycling away from you.
Correct.
Right? Knowledge will become extinct. At the pace of change that we are going through, in every 5 years, people used to first say a decade, knowledge is extinct. 5 years, now it's every 2 years. And with the pandemic, things are changing in like months and weeks, right?
Correct.
So knowledge will be outdated, but that skill is going to be in your stem cells. How do you get that skill in? And that was the model where we said we will go for 80% experiential learning, and we push the entire faculty, every coursework how much can the student learn by doing. And I'll give you an example. So if you were a finance student, right, or you're just, you want to be an international student. I used to go and recruit from the best schools like Cornell, Columbia, and I would ask students the question when I'm recruiting them for my enterprise, tell me something about international business, tell me something about global markets, tell me something about international trade. And I wasn't too happy with the kind of response. Now, my students at Universal Business School, we have a Thomson Reuters trading room, just to give you one example. In this trading room, we have 150 live exchanges coming in. Live markets, not a game, no simulation. These are live markets. Each student is given $10 million notional capital. He has to invest in bond markets, stock markets, commodity, currency markets around the world. Now, why is that important? When he's to answer that question, you know how he would answer? I was given $10 million notional capital. I put $4 million in the Brazilian economy. The Brazilian economy went down. I took that $4 million out. I put $1 million in the Japanese yen because Shinzo Abe, the Prime Minister of Japan, started raising interest rates. I put $1 million in the commodity markets of Australia because of inter-commodity boom between China and Australia. I wanted to go long in Chinese e-commerce stocks because of the e-commerce boom in China. So I said I'll invest in Alibaba and Baidu because they compete with Google and Amazon. And with the final $1 million, I decided to hammer the Indian rupee against the US dollar because the Indian government is not managing its current account deficit. Now, in one sentence, the child has talked about global markets. He's talked about GDPs, economy, interest rates, exchange rates, commodity prices, stocks, e-commerce, everything. And that's what business education is. It's about connecting the dots. Every student, because remember, we are giving an MBA. An MBA means a master in business administration. You got to become a master. How do you become a master? You need to be able to connect the dots. So when the Ukraine-Russia crisis was happening, our students were already long in oil futures, right? And crude oil futures. When the Donald Trump said, we're going to build a wall, 1 billion wall between Mexico and United States. Everybody said, crazy guy. My students are thinking $1 billion wall, cement steel, which is the spare capacity of cement steel. France, UK, let's invest in those stocks. So that's what an MBA is all about. Learning by doing, so that you understand, you connect the dots and make actionable decisions. So that's one big powerful thing of experiential learning, and I can keep going on. Besides that, we have a company on campus. It's a private limited company. Student joins the UBS, he joins the company if he gets selected. He then is employed through his MBA, he's working for that company. If he's great, he can become a vice president in less than a year. If he's great, he can become a CXO CEO in year 2, where he's managing 100 employees, he's hiring, he's firing, he's making profits, he's making losses, he makes pitch to the board for new products, takes it to market. Learns organizing. Sometimes students have people 4 years senior to them working in that organization. And that's what business is all about.
Oh, great. I think it's what an excellent experiential learning in Universal Business School in Karjat. In fact, we talk in terms of the space which is given in understanding the entire global scenario. When we talk in terms of an education, it's not learning for earning, but how you can make your career down the line. That's pretty important. I'm sure the kind of insights what we are getting from Mr. Tarundeep Singh Anand, who's a managing director of an UBS, and the visionary leadership in the global education, having an experience both at the corporate level and also building up an global education institute. I think it's a very interesting conversation what we are having exclusively on ttalk ek Boond Soch ki. Just catch up in our next episode with Mr. Tarundeep Singh Anand on ttalk ek Boond Soch ki. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.